Hello there, my name is Mike and I am one of the education consultants here at the Profs. And in this video, I get to talk about something that is very, very close to my heart. That is how to excel in a STEM subject. Now, just in case you're not sure what STEM means, that stands for science, technology, engineering, mathematics. So the term STEM is very much all-encompassing of anything to do with those subjects. Now, I've had the great privilege of already working as a maths and physics tutor for over 10 years at this point, even well long before my time at the Profs. So I feel like there's a lot of things I would like to be able to say on this, perhaps more than I actually have time for in this video. So if you do have any particular questions on anything that I've not discussed or haven't talked about, then please feel free to leave a comment in the comment section and like and subscribe if you'd like this kind of content. But to really just get into things, I'm starting off with my first of 5 top tips on how to succeed in a STEM subject. The first thing I'm going to say is engage consistently. Now, this is a very, really general tip I'm going to give, but I made it general because I want this to be accessible to both people studying at secondary school as well as people studying at university. I'm hoping that the rest of this is going to apply to both parties as I continue. But that's going to mean different things, I guess, to different people. So if you're in school, try and just be punctual. Turn up to a lot of your classes. Be there when your teachers are discussing a new bit of theory. Be there when you're having laboratory sessions, when you're actually doing practicals. If you're at university, that's going to involve attending the additional seminars. It's going to involve being in the front row of a lecture and just being really engrossed in the subject that is actually being sort of taught to you. But I mean, a really important thing that I want to make is that just your participation or your presence there is not necessarily being a checklist. I don't just want you to say, I turned up and that's it. I would like you to be able to say, I turned up to a lecture, I turned up to a class or an office hour, and I paid attention to what was going on, and I felt like I learned a lot, even though I might not have understood everything, but it's at least given me a foundation to springboard into a fuller understanding of a particular topic. You're going to be learning, for many, many years, regardless of what you're doing. And the one thing you don't want to do is be behind the curve when it comes to sort of understanding all of these topics at once. So you do want to make sure that you are paying attention when something is introduced as being particularly new. So be punctual, be present are 2 really, really important things with that tip. Moving on to a second tip that is very, very similar to this is cultivate your curiosity beyond the syllabus. This is something to really make you stand out against the people that do well, becoming now sort of candidates or students that are actually doing the best in your subject. If you wanted to make sure you were going for A stars, it is fundamental that you have to be reading a little bit outside of your subject, whether it be a little bit of new material, and it doesn't have to be loads, but it's just something to extend beyond what you're learning, just slightly. Or you're looking at new sort of questions or new ways that they could be applied, or perhaps more challenging questions that apply lots of different bits of theory or ideas all at once. In fact, even at the A-level standard, I know for a fact that the AQA board, in particular, as an example, but they're not exclusive to this, demand or require as part of the syllabus that you do speak about things beyond their syllabus to get those A-star grades. So, I mean, if they're already asking that, a similar thing is happening at university. If you want to make sure you're getting over 70% in your exams, ultimately, you want to be able to sort of build over quite a lot of time or many, many hours, sort of your understanding of a particular topic more than just what you are being taught. If you are interested in sort of knowing how to best prepare for those exams, have a look at this video up here to sort of see that video, and that will, I promise you, be a nice counterpart to what we're talking about today. In terms of the learning aspect of this, going much, much earlier in time here in comparison to when you're taking your exams, you also want to make sure, and this is my third top tip here, attend study groups, and really lean on that academic support. I always found from personal experience that I ended up learning the most, particularly at university, when I was able to meet up with friends who were on similar courses to me, and we can study the same things together. It wasn't even just as simple as just reading over textbooks. We can ask each other on the odd occasion different questions pertaining to different topics. And that really helped me to gain a very general understanding or surface level understanding of the material, but also be able to be really, really flexible in knowing how I can apply what I know, which is ultimately going to make you a really, really strong mathematician or scientist if you're going to be able to jump from one topic to another topic so easily and effectively. Topic number 4 is a big one. It's develop resilience and problem-solving habits. I've tried to avoid being cliche when I gave this particular tip. Problem-solving is a phrase that I see almost all the time, but it is so important. I think we need to really go down to what it actually means in context. It's not about necessarily getting the right answer. A lot of it is to do with the process. And in order to be able to get from a beginning of a solution to the end of a solution, you need to accept that you're going to struggle. You're not always going to get everything right. It is perfectly normal. It is part of the learning process. As long as we work out where we go wrong and what we can do instead, then a little bit of experimentation is not necessarily a bad thing, particularly when we are learning a topic within a subject for the first time. Also, to make maybe a problem a little bit less scary, breaking down into little bits. I like to say with a lot of my students that I work with on the tutoring side of things, that you kind of want to act a little bit like a detective. So you don't necessarily know straight away how to answer maybe a longer extended question. And this is in particular maybe for the quantitative aspects of those STEM subjects. You might not know straight away how to answer a particular question, but what can you work out instantly? What can you know? Well, it could be that, for instance, you are able to, first you might want to read over a question that is given to you, break it down into little chunks, see whether you fully understand the sentences given there. Usually they act as really, really good hints in order to work out sort of what things you should be thinking about. So what sort of basic aspects of theory does that relate to that you can lean on? Even if that is just basic assumptions about what is going on, where does that lead to? Trust in the fact that long extended processes can be part of solving questions. And don't worry if you can't answer a question straight away. You're still going to get some marks, even when it comes to coursework or whether it comes to exams. It's a really useful thing to be able to do. Also, it's important to have a growth mindset here. We talked about being forgiving, but how do we sort of relate that to us as students who want to become experts in these subject areas, who want to be the absolute best that we can possibly be? Well, that comes with this idea that we have to accept right now that we might not be experts at the subjects that we are trying to study. But the journey to maybe becoming more proficient in the subject is a fun one, trust me. I mean, I've studied for like nearly 10 years, in like 4 different master's degrees in mathematics, so I can attest to this. The best part of actually learning is by failing, first working out sort of, what a better sort of approach to something might well be. And then you look back sort of over the journey and the hardships that you made, and you can actually develop your proficiency, much more naturally and even quicker, actually. If you're looking at sort of general statistics in terms of learning, it tends to be that the more positive you are to your prospects, the better you're going to be at learning new things. So go into this with a growth mindset, be self-forgiving, and enjoy the experience of learning a few of these things. But of course, on the more practical aspect of things, and this is something I do go back to a lot when I'm talking about succeeding in a particular subject, hire a tutor. I mean, I work at a tutoring agency that is full of subject experts like myself that can help you to really, really develop sort of your understanding of the subject, whether that be in STEM or even if you for some reason happen to watch the majority of this video and you're not studying a STEM subject, we also have experts in humanities, in languages. We even have music experts at this point. You name it, we probably have it. And these are people, again, who, at least have a master's degree in the subject. Some of us are even doctors. Some of us are even university professors. If you ended up hiring a tutor like us, that will help to sort of organize your time. You can maybe clarify on a few sort of questions you're a bit too afraid to ask a teacher or a professor. And then you will really be able to get ahead of the curve if you have somebody guiding you throughout the entire process. So I highly recommend it. So I'm sad to say we've come to the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure to like and subscribe in order to hear the latest information about university applications as well as tutoring services. If you have any questions yourself or any opinions about how some of these things are working, make sure to leave a comment in the comment section or even share it with a friend or family member if you think they might be interested. But if you want to hear directly from us, have a look at the contact information on screen right now. And as always, best of luck with your application.